Hi guys, it's Mackenzie here. I'm going to do a little educational video on rabbits and how to take care of them, their daily stuff, and all that stuff for those of you at home that are looking to get rabbits around this time of year. It's spring, Easter, for pets at home, for your kids, anything like that. So I just want to go ahead and start off by saying that we have to remember that rabbits are prey animals. There's wild rabbits, there's tons of rabbits everywhere, both that you can keep as pets and then just out in the wild. So again, they are prey animals, so they are going to, it's in their natural habit to be scared and anxious a lot. So those anxiety levels can be pretty high for them. They do get very scared of like loud noises and jump around erratically in their cages and stuff like that. So just don't be alarmed by that. Also, rabbits aren't always going to necessarily be friendly. So if that's what you're looking for, is a very friendly animal or pet to just cuddle all the time, it's not going to be a rabbit. They don't always like being held all the time, and those rabbits that actually do like being held, it's not going to be for a very long period of time, and then they're going to tend to kick and try to jump out of your hands if you're holding them too long, which is very dangerous for both you and them. You can get scratched, and they can break their back. Rabbits are very prone to lumbar spinal injuries. Their skeletal structure is very weak, unlike their muscular structure is very strong, because they're constantly up and about, moving around, jumping all over the place, running around, jumping around the house and stuff like that. So those muscles in their back and hind legs are constantly being used and getting strengthened. So they're very strong, and they will flail out of your hands and try to jump out of your hands if you're not handling them and holding them correctly. So it's important to know how to handle them and pick them up out of the cage and stuff like that. So when you are going to get them out of a cage, whether it be a top open cage or a side open cage, you want to, no matter what, make sure that you're scooping underneath their body and immediately bringing them to you. You do not want to hold them away from your body for a long period of time, because that is when they're going to start flailing around and trying to kick, and they're at risk of you dropping them and getting out of your hand. So you need to be extremely careful with that. When holding them, they like and they feel most secure when they have something firmly under their feet. So if you're immediately bringing them to your chest, their feet are automatically on your chest, and then you're going to have that one hand over them. Same thing on a table. If you're putting them immediately on the table or on the floor, them just having that firmness on their feet and then a hand over them is very comfortable for them. They like to be pet, some for longer than others. They do sometimes think your fingers are treats, and they like to bite, but it's not, they're not intentionally doing it. They think that you're giving them food or something. So just be careful with that as well. When you're petting them, they can accidentally nip your finger because they think they're getting a treat. It's very important to know that rabbits are not meant to be caged constantly, 24/7. They need to get out of the cage. They need their exercise. Exercise is very important for them to stay healthy. They can get a lot of health problems if they are not getting enough exercise. They can get sores on their feet because they're constantly in the cage on that wire bottom or something like that. They can become obese. There's so many different health problems that they can get because they're not getting that adequate enough exercise that they need. They can be litter box trained at home, just like your cat. at the house. So if you litter box train them, they can be out and about frequently, and they're not necessarily going to the bathroom all over your house. Rabbits do tend to want to go to the bathroom anywhere they please. So it would be a good idea to litter box train them. It does take some time, and they can still go sometimes outside the litter box. I know I was recently at a friend's house, and they have their rabbit litter box trained, cage trained. He would run around the house and then go into the cage, go to the bathroom, and then come back out and run around the house again. So it is possible. I've seen it done. And I know a lot of people that do train their rabbits to use the litter box or the cage itself. But again, exercise is very important for them, so litter box training could be a good idea, so they're getting that exercise and being out and about. It's good to keep them out normally when they're most active, and we've found that rabbits are most active normally at dawn and dusk, so you can let them out for a little while in the morning time and then in the evening time as well. Just trying to let them out as much as possible for as long as possible is the best way for them to get the exercise they do need to stay healthy. They do, when they are out and about, they do need to be very closely monitored. They do tend to like to chew on things. Their teeth are constantly growing, so they're constantly wanting to chew on things, so those teeth are getting properly filed down to where they need to be, so it's not painful for them. Do not ever, ever, ever try to cut their teeth. Leave out some wooden treats or toys for them to chew on, so them themselves can do that to how they want to and when they want to. They can just constantly chew on that stuff whenever they see fit. Again, monitor them, because you do not want them chewing on your phone cords or your computer cords or your furniture or anything like that at home. So again, that's why those toys are good for them, because they'll find those and they'll want to chew on those to file those teeth down. Make sure those litter boxes and the cages are being cleaned frequently and often, because I know you don't want your house to start smelling and stuff. It's good to change them every couple days, a couple times a week, because rabbit urine does not smell very well after a while. So again, it's good to change that. And when you do change it, make sure that you are putting the proper bedding or litter box material in those. Make sure that they're all natural and healthy for your rabbits, because they do tend to want to eat them sometimes. So you want to make sure those are all natural bedding or pellets or anything that you're using for their bedding and their litter box material, in case they do eat them. You don't want to mess up their digestive tract or anything like that and cause any problems. Another thing I mentioned earlier of them scratching you, their nails can tend to get long, and you want to check that frequently. Make sure that they're staying a good length. You can trim them at home. Some people find that more complicated and will take them to the vet to get them trimmed. They can do that, and it's good to keep them short and manageable so they don't extremely hurt you when they scratch you, if they are flailing around and stuff. Especially if you guys have kids at home, you don't want your kids to get scratched, so keeping them short and manageable is very good for that. So now to touch base on food. Food and for rabbits is extremely important. It is extremely important for them to constantly have water available, whether that be in a sipping bottle that we see a lot that come with the rabbit cages, or a bowl. Sometimes bowls are easier for them. Yes, they get dirty, but bowls are more easy access for them to keep drinking as much of the water that they do need throughout the day. And hay, again, is important to always constantly have. They should never not have hay. Hay is a very important nutrients for them. And again, that's them constantly eating and helping their teeth and everything like that. You can serve a pelleted diet with the hay. Again, make sure that it's all natural. No pellets that have like food coloring or dye or anything to make them a different color or anything. It's not good for them to have anything that's not natural in their food. And then you can do leafy greens as well. They say that about 1 cup every 2 pounds of leafy greens is very good for them. They love their greens. They love munching on them. And then you can choose to do treats for them. You do not need to exceed and go over, like, at the maximum amount of, like, treats for, like, your fruits and whether that be your fresh fruits or your dried fruits or even your dried vegetables. You don't want to do any more than 1 teaspoon per 2 pounds of body weight, because the sugary and sweet things that are in those is very bad for their digestive tract and can cause problems with their digestion. So that's not always a good thing. So yes, you can give treats, limit them to, again, 1 teaspoon, no more than 1 teaspoon per 2 pounds of body weight. Again, that's just to keep their digestive tract healthy and all that. So we've talked about handling, we've talked about food and nutrition, we've talked about the housing and the exercise. Again, in the cages, make sure that sometimes you don't want those wire bottoms. They can cause sores, along with the nails getting too long can cause sores. Just make sure that you're constantly observing your rabbit at home. Check for any abnormalities and stuff like that. They also like to be in quiet and dark places. So sometimes even just to settle them down, to make them more secure and comfortable, you can go ahead and keep them in a dark place and quiet place. Throw a sheet, throw a towel over their cage. Calms them down a lot. They like hiding. But I think that's it for this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and hopefully I interested you in going to get a rabbit. But thank you for listening. Bye.